This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good evening. Welcome to the Jamie Glazov Moment. Tonight, why is Maoist Van Jones on CNN? Ladies and gentlemen, I've been thinking this for a long time. Finally decided to do a moment about it when I saw Van Jones the other night. You know, he's always some political commentator on CNN. He's got his own show, The Messy Truth. I saw this the other night, and I'm just sitting there wondering, why does anybody take this guy seriously? Why is he on CNN? Let me use an example. Imagine somebody that loves Hitler and just thinks that Dachau and Treblinka and Buchenwald and Auschwitz were just great ideas. And they're like on CNN talking and everybody's taking them really seriously. And they're on there saying how they really have compassion for people, but meanwhile they like Hitler. Just picture that. It's very interesting that racial hatred is demonized in our culture, as it should be. But class hatred somehow gets an excuse. It gets exonerated. Why I'm bringing this up and why I brought that example up is Van Jones is a communist. He's a Maoist. Why is he on CNN? Why does anybody take him seriously? And people are like, people are probably sitting there, Jamie, don't call names. That's not fair. Don't call. No. Van Jones is a self-professed communist. Go to discoverthenetworks.org and look up Van Jones. After the Rodney King trial in 1992, Van Jones proclaimed himself to be a communist. You know, it's just very interesting how we excuse this in our culture, and it's understandable because the left controls our culture. So it tries to excuse and exonerate class hatred and what it spawns and engenders in the world. But class hatred killed more people in the 20th century than racial hatred did. Both hatreds are bad, racism is bad, but so is class hatred. And with the Khmer Rouge and Pol Pot and Mao and Stalin, it killed 100 million people. And this is an idea and a value system that Van Jones supports. And yes, it's personal for me because communism persecuted my people. I'm from the Soviet Union. Communism killed 30 million of my people. That's a conservative estimate. It killed my family members. It sent family members of mine to the gulag. So it's personal for me, Van Jones. You support an idea that inspires and sanctions mass murder and pillage and mass starvation. And it's connected to my family. And so I'm wondering, why does anybody take this guy seriously? So Van Jones was a leading member of the organization Storm. Look it up, Storm. Go to discoverthenetworks.org. You should always be going to that site. It's run by John Perazzo. You've got the best documentation there. You know, complete professional scholarship. You've got scholars writing a lot of these profiles. Just go and look up at discoverthenetworks.org. It's a David Horowitz Freedom Center website. Look up Van Jones. Look up the organization Storm. This is a Marxist Maoist organization that considers Mao its hero. Van Jones is a leading member. Mao is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, mass murderers in human history. Mao Zedong, he killed 70 million Chinese people in his project to create utopia, which Van Jones just dreams of. So Van Jones considers Mao a hero. He's part of this organization Storm, which is a Maoist organization. Mao kills 70 million people, and Van Jones is on CNN. How does this work? Why? So let's say that some people are saying, oh, Jamie, but that was a different time. That's the past. Okay, so it's the past. When was Van Jones called out on this? When was his conversion moment from Maoism and communism? When has Van Jones been asked, are you still a Maoist? What do you think of the organization Storm that you actually helped lead? What do you think of its Marxist principles and its Maoist principles? Do you disavow them? Do you disavow Maoism? Do you disavow what Mao did in terms of his genocide? This is a disgrace. Let's go further. A couple more examples. Van Jones participated in anti-war demonstrations that were organized by the communist organization Answer, International Answer. Go to Discover the Networks again, look up International Answer. It's a communist organization. Van Jones is participating in these demonstrations that are organized by Answer. This means something to me. It's personal because my family was persecuted in the former Soviet Union. I lost my grandfathers because they were murdered by the KGB. Relatives of mine were sent to the Gulag. Relatives of mine were murdered. And, they were murdered by communism. And Van Jones, if you're watching, you support the ideas and the idea that gives life, that spawns and engenders this mass murder, and it affects millions of people throughout the world. Why is Van Jones not called out on this? Let us continue. If you look into Van Jones's past, again, go to discoverthenetworks.org, he hung around with Maoists. He's connected to weather underground terrorists and palled around with them, just like Obama did. Why is he on CNN? Why does he get to host his own show? Let us go further. In 2004, there was a petition that accused Bush of knowing about 9/11 and allowing it to happen as a pretext for launching war. Guess who signed that petition and was involved with this petition? Van Jones. He's a truther. Why is he on CNN? Why is he hosting his own show? Oh, and by the way, Van Jones kind of backed out of this whole thing when he was called out on it, saying he didn't know what was actually in the petition. Yeah, you don't know what petitions you're signing, Van Jones, sort of like Obama didn't know what was going on in the church he attended for 20 years. Never heard one sermon by Reverend Wright. Let us go further. There is a convicted cop killer, Mamiya Abdul Jamal. He is a convicted cop killer. He came out with a rap album. Guess who helped him with this rap album? Guess who helped fund it and participated in it? Van Jones. So Van Jones is promoting, championing, and endorsing a cop killer, and therefore endorsing cop killers. Yet he's a host on CNN and a political commentator on CNN. I could go on and on here. Go to discoverthenetworks.org, look up Van Jones. This is a disgrace. But you know what I'm really interested in terms of leftists, and Van Jones is a typical one? While they endorse ideas that spawn and engender mass murder and mass suffering, they get to carry themselves as the compassionate people of our time that are for social justice. If you watch Van Jones on CNN, he's really worried right now. He wants there to be compassion. And those poor Muslim girls that are going to school, and in the era of Trump now, they're scared to wear a hijab, and he's worried for Arab Americans. He's just worried that there's no compassion in the Trump era. First of all, this is BS. Secondly, Van Jones, if you're really interested in compassion, where's your compassion to what happened to the Chinese people under the mass murder that your ideas support? Where's your compassion for the Cuban people that have suffered under Castro's tyranny for decades, and the tyranny that they continue to suffer under, despite, even though Fidel has died, they continue to suffer under communism? Your ideas enable that. The ideas you believe in cause that. And so you are complicit in the suffering of people suffering under communism. Where is your compassion for them? You talk a lot about compassion. Where is your compassion for the people that have suffered under communism, an ideology that you support? And Van Jones, he's on CNN, and, recently I saw him a couple times, especially after Trump's victory. What do we tell our children? And he's on the verge of tears. What are we going to tell? What do parents tell the kids? Why Trump won? What do we explain to our children? How Trump could win in America? I got a better question. What do we explain to our children when they ask us why a Maoist communist gets to host a show on CNN, gets to be a political commentator on CNN? What do we explain to children that say, Daddy and Mommy, why is this person who supports an idea that caused 100 million deaths in the 20th century and mass starvation, why is he a commentator and a host on CNN? What does this say about our world? That's what people should be asking. It's personal to me, ladies and gentlemen. Communism affected my family, so many of my people, and if we care about people in general, whether we were touched by it or not, communism is one of the most evil ideas in history. It's caused mass suffering. It causes tyranny everywhere it goes. The very idea of socialism, the very notion of Marxism immediately necessitates a terrorist component. These aren't just people that ruined this idea and that put it badly into practice. It causes mass murder and starvation every time it's applied. Van Jones is a supporter of this idea. He needs to be called out on it. Thank you for joining us for the Jamie Glazov moment tonight. If you like this program, please keep in mind we're a fun, fan-generated show, and our window of opportunity is growing a little narrow now. Please go to jamieglazov.com to support the program. And the least you can do is be a subscriber to the YouTube channel of the Glazov Gang and twist some arms of some people you know to be subscribers as well. We'll see you next week. Good night.